At 8:23 this morning, deputies responded to the 6500 block of Timurin Lane. They were responding to a call from a 77-year-old man who essentially said that he can't afford his medical bills. And he's essentially going to take matters into his own hands. The operator tried to keep him on the phone, after which point he hung up and said, "You can find me in the bedroom." The deputies that responded found a man and his wife, an elderly couple, who supposedly killed themselves because they could not deal with the medical bills and pay for their health care. Essentially, they couldn't afford their health care. To be specific, this was the post that the officer put up. At 8:23 hours this morning, deputies responded to the 6500 block of Timurin Lane near Ferndale after a 77-year-old man telephoned 911 and told the dispatcher, "I am going to shoot myself." He indicated he had prepared a note for the sheriff with information and instructions. The dispatcher attempted to keep the caller on the line without success. The man disconnected the call, saying, "We'll be in the front bedroom." The sheriff is now investigating this as a murder-suicide. He says it's tragic that one of our senior citizens will find himself in such a desperate situation and circumstance that he felt murder and suicide were the only option. Help is always available with a call to 911. But is that true? Is help always available with a call to 911? What are you going to do? Call them and say, "I can't afford my medical bills"? I mean, this is... Look, when I argue about the Medicare for All thing, it's one of those things of, this is something that is affecting the overwhelming majority of the population itself. That senior citizen is not by himself. The guilt that's associated with individuals when they feel like they have to need their family for assistance, as opposed to being able to kind of make their own way or have a society that ensures that they themselves are taken care of. After spending their entire life giving their productive energies to the society itself, to be put in a situation where you feel like the only way out from either accepting hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt in medical bills or just not getting health care. He found, yes, it's a horrible way out. Don't misunderstand me. I'm just saying that the person felt like he was trapped in that particular situation. Why? Society, policy. It didn't have to be this way. There are policy options that would have prevented this guy from being in this situation. Joe Biden is running on a healthcare plan where he's knowingly going to allow hundreds of thousands of people to die every year because they're not going to have health care. He's assuming that there's going to be a certain amount of people without health care. Those are policy situations. This couple that just lost their life in a tragic murder-suicide because the society allowed them to be in a situation where they could be eaten alive, either by medical bills or at the very least create a disincentive for even going for the health care in and of itself. This shouldn't happen. Clearly, this shouldn't happen. And by the way, this is not an individual thing. This is not a mental health issue. Or you can call it a mental health issue, but let's be very clear, it's a mental health issue brought by issues of class. This call never takes place if this person's health care was taken care of. In a Medicare for All system, this doesn't take place. I'm making the point that, however this is looked at, there's an individual choice that was made. This is also a class dynamic to this, whereas certain policy choices keep this from taking place. I'll leave it here. It sucks. It's horrible. But I'm saying this from somebody who's dealt with the medical bill thing. And, it's aggravating. And, having family members who are getting older and deal with the medical bill aspects of this. And not just the medical bill. Not wanting to get health care because they don't want the bill. Having certain feelings of guilt or regret, or certain feelings that you're imposing too much on somebody else. There are all sorts of emotions that kind of surface to the top in these situations. I don't point the finger at this guy, even though no, this guy shouldn't have killed himself and his wife, or however that took place. But I do ask this kind of larger question of a society allows this, and it shouldn't. And if the underlying aspects of the society paid attention to these aspects of mental health, but these aspects of mental health, I argue, are often environmental. This is an environmental issue of mental health. If you want to call it an issue of mental health, then it's the issue that didn't have to exist and didn't have to happen. Medicare for all. I'll leave it here.